Hey everyone, Sean here with Manly Made in Minute, and welcome back to my channel. This is my second video for my first Kendra's card challenge number 17, and this is cards 6 through 10. Super excited on the theme of these 5 cards that I put together. I'm going stencils, I'm going some pinks and greens and a little bit of blue on these florals. I got out a simple stencil. This is an all-to-new stencil called Folk Flowers. It's one of my first layering stencils I ever bought, and I bought it on purpose because it's super easy to layer together, really easy to use, and I just wanted to grasp the concept of layering stencils that I've never done before, and this one seemed like something I could do just to grasp the idea. But it's a really cute stencil set, and it fits my designer series paper that I picked for this first Kendra's card challenge for this first quarter, so I just thought this goes really well with my theme. So before I show you what we're going to do, I've got one stencil already pre-made. I'm going to get this one ready for my first card and my, I think, a second card. Then I'm going to do a stencil just to show you how nice and easy this one layers together, and then I'll get some, I got to do a couple, just have enough for the rest of the cards. I'll do that off camera. Then we'll start assembling the rest of these. So we're going to assemble card number 1. But before we do, don't forget to hit that like and subscribe button. Would love to have you follow me on YouTube and on Instagram. I'm Manly Made Minute on Instagram. Would love to have you follow me there. I've got some card hops, and I do lots of cards that I post on there as well. So let's go to the down camera. Let's get started and show you what I have set up. Okay, here is the stencil. I've pre-made one already, and then I have to do a couple more, so I'll demo one on how easy this stencil is to put together. Super simple. It's got 3 stencils to it, alright? Layer 1, then this is 2, and then this is 3. This is the Folk Flowers by Alt-to-New, and again, this is the first one I bought because it was 3 layers, super easy layers, and I just needed to grasp this concept of layering and grasping that. And you can see I've done some shading and things, and I'll go over that when I switch colors. I did this one tone on tone, and then I'm going to do a pink, a green, and yellow one for the rest of my cards, and I'll probably have to make a couple. We'll do that off camera after I demo the one. So I need to cut out this main flower. This set comes with this. It comes with the die cut for the one big flower, full flower here, but we're going to cut out most of these on some of the others. So that's the die cut with a charming sentiment that comes as a die cut. And then it comes with this little stamp set to add the detail to the leaves and the stamen, and I'll do that for you now just to kind of show you on a couple of these of how these layer up really nicely. Now there's a bigger one and a smaller one. There's 2 big leaves and 2 small leaves that you'll need to do this on. So I'll do a couple, I'll stamp out the rest, and I want this in a brown. I don't want this too dark and black, so I'm just doing a nice dark brown. And this is the bigger of the leaves, and so I'll just show you on this one main flower here. Very, very easy to line up. Very simple stencil stamp set. Okay, then you just switch to the smaller one for the other 2. And the angle of them is just kind of follows for the most part, and you just kind of wiggle that in there. And then the stamen. There's 2 stamens. There's a smaller one and a larger one. The larger one is for these larger flowers here, and then the smaller flowers you need the smaller stamen because it's just a little too long. Line it up in the center, kind of line it up to those 3 dots, like so. And I'll zoom in here. Let me get the smaller one in there for you. And then I'll stamp the rest of this, die cut this out for this big flower, and then the small one. And that, you can see it just fits in there really nice. So let's just zoom in so you can kind of see the detail of that main flower. You can do it without, or you could add the detail. You do not need to add the detail. I'm adding the detail for mine, just to jazz these up a little bit. Alright, I'm going to finish stamping this out with the detail. I'm going to cut this main flower out because I need that for one of my first cards. Then I'm hoping one of these corners leaves me enough to do a 2 3/4 by 2 3/4 square for card number 6. Card number 6 It's this one here. This black layer is what I'm going to use for my stenciled layer, and then the rest of these should fit together with the matte layers and the DSP that we have cut out. So I'm going to finish stamping this. I'll get this die cut, get my square cut, and we will be back. Alright, we've got the one strip with the two little pieces that are going to go on either side of this square. So we will just assemble like so. So I'm just going to put these at the top and bottom first so that I can center from the rest of that. So these will be the start of my base. Alright, pardon if my head gets in there. I just want to make sure I'm centered all the way around. Like so. So I'm not sure if anybody else is watching. If you are doing this challenge, this is my first one. I have a video that I just posted here a couple days ago on the first 5 cards. Super happy on how they turned out. This is really fun, especially for me. I don't get out my DSP papers near enough. Like not near like I should, and this is just pushing me to challenge that just a little bit more. Okay, I had to fix some layers here just a little bit. I'd mismeasured just slightly. So what we're going to do, this one here gets centered here. Alright, this one I'm going to not pop up on dimensionals. I'm going to resist the urge on this one because I've got to tuck 2 little pieces here. Then this will go over the top of this like so, with the strip going across that piece. Alright, so we're going to not put that up on dimensionals. So let's just layer these out. Let's stack these 2 here first before I layer them and center them onto the card itself. And I'm just going simple black on this one just to get, I want a little bit of color to pop on this set. So you'll probably see a little bit more black than I did on that last set. Okay? Then we're just going to center this one. Like so. You all would probably be laughing at me as I was fixing my measurements. I just don't know what I was doing, and then I had to recut things a couple times because I just couldn't. My brain was not functioning on the 1 3/4 and the 3 1/2, and it just wasn't working out for me. So I'm just not sure what I was doing wrong. Anyway, I got it fixed. Okay, now these 2 little pieces of that DSP. You can see those green pieces right there go on either side, alright? And since this is up a little bit, I can tuck this underneath here. If it'll slide underneath there we go. And just slide that in place and then line that up to the edge. Okay, then we'll add the other one to the other side and get that lined up straight from that one. And that one is perfect to size. Perfect to size. Just get that nice and straight across so it looks like one strip going all the way across. Like so. Okay? Now you can see the other 2 squares. So what I've done is I put the one little DSP piece up on a little card piece, but I didn't want that blue on like that, so I'm going to pink and then blue. So I've got several layers to this. I'm layering this up just a little extra because I'm not popping up a ton of dimensionals on this one. I'm just doing my layers with the backgrounds. Okay? So line this up to the card. So this is almost like a little mini card, and this is inside here is where I'm going to throw my sentiment. I have some of these little frays, and I'm being cheap, and I'm stretching out my blade on my Fiskars trimmer, and it's time to change it. I think I have stretched out that dollar off of that one. So this is a little sentiment that I've already pre-embossed in Outdoor Denim, and I believe this is from scrapbook.com. Don't quote me on that. I had bought this. This is my first one of my embossing things I bought off a lady. That it might be close to my heart, actually, because it was a whole bunch of close to my heart stuff that I had bought from her when her mother had passed, and I found it on Facebook Market when I very first started stamping, like 5 years ago, and that's what I have left of it. Okay, we're going to just center this. So it's like a card on a card, and then you got plenty of room on the inside of the big card to write your greeting and your little note. Okay, then we'll just glue this onto my little pink mat, like so. Now I don't want this to run through my card because I've already got my greeting in there. Well, it actually might work cute that way, actually. Let me just look. Versus like this. And it looks like I'm a little short because it's cut to the size of this, but this goes out to the edge. So I might recut this little piece, and I think I am going to go over that so it almost frames in that thank you. So let me just cut another strip of this paper so it goes all the way across. So I'm going to need that 5 1/2 by half just to get that on there. And actually, you know what I could do is I could just cut this. I'm going to just cut it, and then we're gonna center it on the other side. Easy peasy. That solves finding the paper and finding a whole nother piece, right? Because then I can just tuck it underneath and then cut the ends off. That solves that. So I'm actually going to tuck it under so it hides it, rather than over the top of the card like my original idea. Change of plans. I gotta get my groove on here. I am off kilter here with this first card and all my measurements and everything else. Like, I don't know what I did. But that's alright. We'll knock out these other cards easy peasy. So you can just see I'm just centering it so it falls over in the center, and then I center with these. And then because of that, I do think I am going to throw that up on some dimensionals then. Because I just cannot ever resist a good height and dimensionals on a card. So before I do that, we're going to throw this on the card base. And I debated on stenciling the insides of these cards, but I may just leave them. I may actually just take some scraps of this DSP and throw some strips on the inside. But I might actually save that till the end and just throw some strips at the very end on the inside of this. Okay, let's just throw this up on my base using pink bases for these 5 cards. And I think that pink and black just pops out so nice. I'm going to try to stick, and I might change up. I might throw that Charming die set on one of these. But I am just sticking to a thank you theme with these. Realign that one. Alright. Try this again. Like I said, something is off kilter with me this evening on this first card. Get my groove going here. Alright. Good. Get that tacked on there. And then let's just center this. Nice bright card too. Great color on there. So my little flappy with my thank you on the inside. Let's just take a look. I've got my black base layer, I've got my 2 squares, I've got my additional, which is that stenciled piece, my 2 strips, my DSP here. I added this as a little card, and we can write on the inside. Zoom in. Good grief, we got card number 6 complete. Alright? And I'll just get this up here just a little bit closer. Card number 6. Alright, I'm going to clean up my space, and I will be back and we'll get number 7 put together. Okay, before we assemble card number 7, I wanted to demo for you how easy this stencil is to layer. And I'm switching up now from this pink on pink tone. I'm going to use some of these pieces yet, but I need some big florals, and I need a circle that we're going to cut out too. So I'm going to make a couple of these, but I want to show you this first one, how I'm going to layer these colors together. So I'm just changing it up a little bit with my green is going to be greenery, or greenery is going to be green. Then the I'm going to do some shading with like a little bit of a bluish green. Then the flowers are going to be blue and pink. Let me see, I got blue, yeah, blue and pink for my flowers on this one. So when you do these stencils, they're embossed or scratched in here with the number. So this is number 1. I can read that it says Altenew and number 1 facing this way. If it's upside down, you won't be able to read it. You've got the stencil upside down. I have made that mistake, so then you've got to re-stencil it. So, alright, I'm going to do all green with grass skirt. I'm going to do my shading with this uptown. So we're going to just start here and clean this off just a little bit. Alright, I'm still going to kind of shade, but still go all over with this one. So I'm starting and kind of getting it heavy on one side of my leaves and then just bringing it over. And I don't need this layer really intense, because the intense is going to come from the shading and some of the dark of the uptown that I'm adding, because this is pretty dark, that uptown is. So I'm just getting that graduation ombre kind of started, but you'll really see that when we throw that uptown on there. This one's just kind of more about getting this color down and then shade it out with that second color. Now I will tell you, doing it this way versus just all one color, it will take you a little bit of extra time. I've done this on the pink, so I did the pinks this way, but it's just all one pink, so it doesn't stand out as much, but it will take you a little bit of extra time to do this shading, because you've got to go leaf by leaf on the next step. So just know that going in. The steps here are just going to take you a little bit longer, especially on this first layer of this floral. Alright, and the effect of this though, it's really pretty. It does come out really pretty. Now, the very first time I used this, I just did flat colors, no shading, no nothing. Again, I was just learning how this layers up and how to layer up. And now I'm throwing in kind of that extra technique. Now that I feel a little bit more comfortable with it, I'm throwing in that little bit of technique with some shading and things on it, right? And there's nothing wrong with just going basic. That's the only reason why I'm calling that out. There is nothing wrong with just going basic and simple. So anyway, I had mentioned at the very beginning, this is my first Kendra's card challenge. First set of 15 cards I'm doing for this challenge. I've been kind of seeing some friends and people that I follow on Instagram and YouTube and stuff do this challenge, and I started asking some that were doing it, explain this to me, what is it, why, I don't understand, is it what's the challenge, like. So it took me a little bit of research, and I will say after this first set of 5 that I did, video is up on my channel to watch that if you want. and I can link it. I'll link it up here on the screen here for you. It's really fun. It challenges, there's a different challenge to this. Okay, so here's my green, basic, but you can see I've added some shading in there to start, right? So I'm going to take this, oh no, now don't take that off yet, Sean, don't take that off. Now I'm going to switch up my color to the Uptown, okay? And I know this is inked up pretty good, because I don't use it a ton, so I'm going to dab off a little bit, because it can get a bit much. So I'm going to go on one side of the leaf all the way around on all of these, and I'm going to start on the edge and pull it in, because what I want is that shading on the one side here. Okay, so I've got my shading started. I'm going to come down into that stem just a little bit, pull that down, and now I'm just going to drag that across, and that's it. Okay, it doesn't take much. This color is pretty intense, so it doesn't take much of it. Okay, so I'm shading my one side down into the stem, drag some of that across. Same thing on every single leaf, and I'm trying to stay on the same side of all the leaves on all of these. Okay, and drag that across a little bit on that stem. So I'm just kind of staying same side, going in a clockwise motion on each of these stems for the leaves, and then drag that across. Now, for these little bases, I'm just getting the little, I don't have a tinier brush than these, so I'm just using this to get at the base of those and give that some shading on the underside with the stem on each of these. Okay, so come in on this side, get the base, the stem. Okay, now I'm going to go to the next one. Same thing, I'm just going to stay on the same side of the leaves and do the same thing. Start it, shade it, pull it across. Clockwise, so I'm going to start it, shade that edge. Once I get that darkness I want, I'm just going to drag and soften that across. This little edge of the stencil I should have taped down. It doesn't tape down the best, but just get a little bit here at the bases. I got too wet. Get a little bit right there on this one. Okay, we'll start on this one. Same side of the leaves and just work clockwise. So anyway, if you haven't tried this challenge, you've got to try it. It's really fun. It's gives you the layouts of the 15 cards. Okay. It took me a little bit of questioning and I even kind of chatted up Kendra just a little bit to get a little bit more info on this. You do have the liberty to change this up just a little bit on where you lay stuff out, or where, you know, the layers that you add, the extras. Like this is not in the layout, right? I'm adding this to the design of my cards and then making it fit with the design that she's given us to lay out. So and so it's forcing me to look at my stuff and see what I can make work off of these predetermined designs, right? And scraps. Oh my goodness. This, I even said this on that first video. A lot of it was scraps. This is a perfect way to use up scraps. The DSP though, you got to do 6x6 and then cut it into certain pieces. So if you got 6x6 scraps, perfect. If not, I use new sheets, but I had 6x6 tablets that I used, so it worked out perfect. All right, just make sure I got all my little pieces in there. Soften some of that down just a little. Oh, missed one right there. It is. Okay, this is my green layer. This looks so good when you peel this back after shading like that. So we're going to peel this back and then we're going to do my petal pieces. Okay. Look at that. Doesn't that look just beautiful? Now the blue that I add to this looks so good with this. Alright, stencil number 2 is the first layer of the flowers with the little dots for the stamens. So you got to find your 2. My 2 and Alta Nu is right there facing up. And I can read it, so I'm in the right direction and it just pops right in place. These layering stencils are easier to pop in place than I thought. And I know Altenew is really good with these layered things and florals and die cutting and things, so I had to try it in Altenew. I was very specific. I'm doing this and I'm doing this with Altenew because they're known for it and their quality is great. So that was purposeful on this set. Alright, now my blue. I'm using cold blue. I know this is juiced up pretty good, so I'm going to tap off just a little bit because it can get dark. I'm going with a light hand because this one can get dark. And I'm okay if it gets a little dark, but I don't want it too dark. I'm still kind of keeping, I want it to match those florals that I have on that DSP on this. I'm tying this all in. See, that one got a little too dark. I got a little heavy-handed on that one, but that's okay. I had juiced these up here at the end of the year. As you know, that craft room cleaning and jazzing up the supplies, rejuicing up and inking up the ink pads, and I keep forgetting that. You get so used to working with things on a little dryer that you're like, you know, pushing it in there, and then you got to readjust your pressure. So I just darken those up a little bit so I get it a little bit matchy. That's it. Not too many pieces on this one, so you peel that back. And you've got your first base layer of those petals on there. And now we're going to pop that pink. And I'm using one of the same pinks that I used on the pink on pink. So I'm using Pucker Up. And then we add this final base layer. Again, find the Altenew and the 3 facing up. That lines up very nicely. I'm using tape because I'm doing 6x6 paper, so I'm trying to get as most as I can out of this. I could go a little bit less than 6x6 so that it overlays and sticks to my pad, because there is an edge. So note to self on the next time I do this that I can cut this slightly under 6x6. Alright, Pucker Up, and I don't want this too dark. I'm going to go light-handed on this one and just get enough base pink, because this one can get a little bright. But my cotton candy and the other ones, they were just too light and weren't popping like I wanted them to pop. So, and I have enough built up on this brush too. I probably could have did this whole piece without even touching inking up at all. Nice thing about the stencils is you can pull some of this off the top of the stencil to use too, because you have that ink sitting on the top there, right? You can pull that off to use it. Okay, that's it. Now what we got to do is just add our detail pieces. Okay, does that not pop? Really nice. Now I'm pulling my detail pieces. So I've got those different stamens, right? So I've got the larger stamen on here. So this is for these larger flowers. There's slightly different sizes. It'll just take you a couple times at looking at this to get the eye to figure out which ones are the larger ones. And they're always in the same spot on the branch. FYI. Okay. Now we'll get the small little stamen out and do those small little flowers. And I'm using a brown. I'm using icing on the cake. I didn't want black. I didn't want this to get too harsh. So just a nice dark brown. And it's like a warmer brown. And I think that was all of them. All right. Now I just clean off my block. We're going to do the leaves. There's 2 different leaves, like I said earlier. So the larger leaves, there's 2 large leaves, 2 smaller leaves on each branch. So I've got the larger one out, and just same thing. I'm doing the dark brown, and I'll just go around and do all the larger ones first. Like so. You know, and I was going to say too, the other thing you can do, if you're afraid to jump in, play along. Practice a little bit. If you're too afraid to jump in, I say just jump in, but you can play along. Everybody, there's tons of people's videos out there. The design team did an amazing job posting videos for all these designs, so you could definitely practice and play along and see if you're going to do it. I just jumped in, but it's fun. It's a great way to use up those scraps. Great way to kind of stretch the imagination. Ooh, I got a little smudge there, but that's all right. And I feel like it's something different, right? Like something different to try. I'm probably getting out supplies that I probably wouldn't use as often, and now I'm trying to find like something different that I haven't used for a while. I'm getting everything along the edge just because I'm not sure how much of this paper I'm going to need or use, so I'm just getting every little piece that I can. Alright. There you have the paper that we're going to use. So we're going to cut out that big floral. I've got these other edges around here that I'm going to need to use for different sizes for these cards. So I'm going to cut out my big floral. I'm going to make a couple more of these because I'm going to need it. And then we'll come. I'm going to clean up my space, and then we're going to start on card number 7. Okay, we are ready for card number 7. Card number 7. Card number 7. Paper B, paper C, paper D, strip in the middle, sentiment. Then we've got 3.5 inch half circle, the black piece that we can do whatever we want. Alright, we can guess what Sean's going to do. So I have that pink paper that I showed you at the beginning. I cut the floral out of it because I'm going to need that main floral. I had this scrap left, so I just took half of that circle and cut out part of this, right, to kind of keep my waist down. Now we've got these pieces here in this order that we need to glue down. So let's get these glued down to our base here first, and just smooth out my edges. I had pre-cut this stuff, and I do need to change that blade like I said earlier. Alright, and some of these are a little easier than others for assembly and measurements and whatnot, right? Okay, I'm going to go top to bottom here and just make sure I have enough space. So line that up, and that looks like that's going to be pretty darn close. It's that lining up and then the measurements for each piece that sometimes I struggle with to make sure they're spaced right when you're piecing stuff together like this, especially that making sure that edge looks right on all of them. Okay, we'll throw this down and line that up like so. Get that little corner down here on both of these. And then this final piece. The fun part about these two is figuring out what do you want to do for all these extra pieces that you have free liberty to do, right? Because it's your card, and you've got to, it forces you to design, which is that process for me gets kind of fun, that design part. I'm going to throw this down on my card base. I'm going to throw a weight on there just so it kind of flattens it out, everything out for me before I kind of put my other layers up on here. Okay, we're going to weight that down just like so. I'm going to glue this piece down, but I'm going to take now one of my green flowers. I cut that main green flower on, and we're going to layer that over that. So I'm going to put this up on some dimensionals. Okay, so I've got to get out some strips that I have, and I think we're going to use these dots that would fit on those leaves perfectly. I'm going to do like one on each here basically. So I want to pop this up And then I do have a sentiment you can see on the table here. I'm trying to match all the sentiments in all these cards too, but I took, now the first one you'll see I did not use that black piece, but I used the middle piece and I made it pink instead. This one here I embossed in green, and that is from the Tim Holtz Distress Embossing. This is the glaze. Mowed Lawn is on that one. And I've got a couple, I think, with the Mowed Lawn on them. Alright, I'm just going to put this down here on my stem and curve that around, cut that little piece off. Just like so. And we'll just prep this before I lift my weight off here. I'm going to need a little wiggle room on this, so I'll just glue this down. One more. Alright, now on this card you can see that that half circle lines up to the little middle strip, right? So I'll glue that down and center it and line that up to that little strip. That black piece now here on the picture is that piece that you have liberty to do with what you want. And I'm going to bring mine down just slightly so it stays within my DSP paper. Okay. So there's that one. Now I'm going to take, I could lay on here pink on pink, or I could take this one I prepped here and go green, and I'm going to go green. I need a little color off of this. Okay, so let's just give me a little wiggle room and pop some glue on this. And I want this to spray across my card. And now I'm going to think ahead here with my sentiment. Do I want that on top? Do I want that in the corner and this spraying over the edge of that? And I actually might go center with this coming out from it. So we're going to kind of keep my branch centered and spray this upward this way. And then I'm going to pop this one up as well. So I'm going to pop dimensionals up on either corner of this and that bottom edge. So I've got to throw a little strip on that bottom edge and then I'll glue it to that rest. So this has got to go like so. And then I need, I'm going to do half a circle on either edge here. Just like so, and then I'm going to glue that top piece down onto the flower. That way everything stays level, and I'm not getting this off kilter from everything else. So I'm trying to keep everything as level as possible. So I'll just throw a little bit of glue, yeah, up in through here, and then center this. Bring that down just a little bit. Like so. I debated going across, putting that in the corner, but I think I'm going to keep that centered so it comes up from that. That is card number 7. Alright, let me clean up my space. We'll prep for card number 8 and I will be back. Okay. On to card number 8. As you can see, this one is extremely simple background laid out, right? So I've got my DSP underneath here. Then we've got one little matte layer for that one. And then we've got our plain layer background there on my card base. So what we're going to do first is I'm going to take this little 3 by 4 inch piece and I'm going to ombre color this with my Distress Oxides blue, green, and a pink. So I've got Stormy Sky, Mowed Lawn, Kitsch Flamingo. Then I'm going to water splatter this and get that to oxidize and get some texture onto that. Then I'm going to take this back layer, and we're just going to splatter this with some watercolor. I want to bring in some yellow into this, so I might do some yellow, some pink, and maybe a little bluish, so that peeks out around this for some splatter. Might throw a little titch of gold on there, not sure yet. And then we'll layer this together, and then I've got my sentiment, same kind of sentiment. Again, that is in the outdoor denim that is embossed with my little die cuts that, again, I got these die cuts out. I hardly have ever used these, and this is an opportunity where I'm like, I got to bring something in I haven't used for a while to work with these, right? It was kind of my purpose. So let's ombre this first, distress this, splatter this, then we'll get some things assembled, okay? Let me move some stuff aside. We're just going to ombre this, so I'm going to start, I think we're going to go, let's see, I think I'm going to stay in this order, actually. So we're going to start with my Stormy Sky, and I just want just a nice ombre. So start there. I'm going to go up to my top with my pink, my Kitsch Flamingo. Get that across the top. And you can see, again, this is an easy technique. Not a big piece to blend, so it's super easy technique. And you can throw this color down pretty quick. And let's just do that mode lawn right down that middle. And then I'm going to come back over to blend out my edges with both colors on either side. Just to soften that down just a little bit and get a nice soft ombre. Oh, I don't want pink, I want green. Soft ombre off of that. Okay, now I'm going to take my splatter box, throw this in my splatter box, and I'm just going to throw some water on here. Alright? So this is just pulling it up in my hands, and I just want big splatters. Get some down here on the blue, get some bigger ones going. Let that activate. I have a little piece I've been using over here to rub stuff off with. Let that activate just a little bit, and then pick that up to pull that off. Love, love, love that. We're going to set this one aside while we have this out. Now we're going to throw this in here. I'm going to use my Mayling watercolor set. And we're just going to pull in a pink and a yellow for sure. And then I think I just want to pull in a little bit of a, like a bluish, let's see. Let's just see what this one looks like. And I'm over here just kind of getting my colors ready, but I want a little bit of a bluish green. That one's perfect, actually. Pull that one in. Okay, so I've got a shimmery pink, a nice sunflowery kind of yellow, and a little bluish green. I'm just going to grab a fan brush to splatter these with. And we're just going to kind of start with my pink here. And primarily the edge, because the rest of it's going to be covered. And just throw it down, right? Get your color going and throw it down. Okay. Now I'm going to take that bluish green. See if I wet the right one down. Yep, I'm going to use this one. Kind of got too wet, then I'm like, which one was it? Okay, tap some of this in there. It's not as greenish as I thought when I tested that, but that's alright. Just trying to pull all colors together on this. Now I'm going to take my yellow and get that yellow in there. A little trifecta of some color going here to tie this all in. All right, that's it. Now we assemble. That's all I got for technique on this one. I'm going to dry this up, clean this down so I don't get ink on everything, and then we'll be right back to assemble this for you guys. Okay, we are ready to assemble. However, as I was cleaning up, I want to add just a tiny bit of something to this. So I actually decided to do a little bit of black splatter. So I'm just pulling that same watercolor pan set, and I just want a little bit of black in there. I've got a black background that I just want to pull that in just a tiny bit into this card. So I'm just gonna tap kind of light here. I don't want a ton. Like, I don't need it like I had on that other piece. I just kind of want a little bit so it frames that. That's it. I didn't want a ton of that. So I just kind of wanted to show that before we assembled, so you could just see what I did. And I needed to dry this up just a little bit anyway. That oxide on there and the water splatter, I just needed to dry that. But I thought before I dry that back, I wanted to show you me splattering that with just a little bit of black to pull some stuff together on this card. Now I'm pulling together now that flower that I cut from that one first panel that I showed you for this card, and we're just going to throw that one big piece up on this one. Okay, we're ready to assemble, but what I want to do is now I'm going to cut out some of these that are left over from that one I cut. I'm just going to use the die cut, line it up. I know it's going off edge, but I'm going to line this up because now what I'm going to do is I'm going to take these pieces and piece together on here for those dimension on here and just have these pieces coming in off the edge of that card. So I'm going to go and cut these down of all these pieces, then we'll come back and we'll assemble this down. Okay, I've got my pieces cut out, laid out where I want them. Before I glue these down, I might pop these two up on dimensionals, but before I glue these down, I'm going to glue my bases together, put a weight on them so I can get those good and dry and flattened out before we layer up everything else on top of this card. So we're going to get this first base layer down, and as you can see on the drawing here, there's a light gray layer here on top of that layer. That's my white base layer that I'm laying down here first. Alright? And I'm using the pink of the card as my framing layer for this piece. I'm not adding any more onto that. Okay? Let me just put a little weight on there as we're piecing these together. Now the DSP layer, you can see here, has a mat around there. Let me just zoom in just a little bit. So it's got that layer. I'm using yellow for that one, just to add a little pop of color behind all of this with my DSP. And this piece I actually cut out just perfectly with the words off of this DSP, with amaze, find, journey, perfect, inspire. So I think that looks great, but it's going to get covered up with my little piece. So almost perfect on where that cut out, right? Okay, now this one goes down right here at the bottom of this. So tack that on there. And just kind of space it out where you want, really. I mean, it's kind of laid out there, but I'm going to give that kind of a nice edge, like so. Okay. Lay this down. Now I'm going to layer this before I glue it onto here. So I do think I'm going to, I'm just going to keep everything flat because I'm going to pop this up on dimensionals on top. So I do think I'm going to keep everything flat on this one. So let's just start with these two little pieces and glue these down. And I didn't cut, this was cut off of the edge of that paper from the stencil, so I didn't cut the flower off on purpose. It was already there, I just die cut it out. So I'm like, I can lay these kind of pieces that were at the edge of the stencil on the edge of my paper. So it's almost kind of a no waste kind of situation too. Use as much as or as little as you want, you know, but it's essentially it's a almost zero waste off of this. Like so, and I'll lay this edge down. So hopefully this is kind of giving you some ideas and some inspiration, either for your Kendra's cards, or even, you know, just doing cards, you know, set of cards on your own. These stencils are inspiring me to get them out, and actually probably make a set of cards out of these. Easy peasy, not have to complicate it too hard, and just do some stenciled fronts and call it a day. And that just tore on me, so we're going to try to squeeze in. Let's see if I have another leaf here that I could just cut. Yeah, we're just going to cut this one out right here. It was a little frayed, and then I just pulled just a little too hard on it, so we'll just fussy cut another one out. It did die cut out because I just laid the die on it, lined up. So it did actually die cut out, but I don't need to die cut. I can just fussy cut that little one. Okay, get my little tweezers. So my fingers tend to be a little bit in the way all the time, so I use my tweezers as much as possible. And my hands get, if I don't use the tweezers, I feel like I get a little shaky more. Alright, I'm going to cut this down. Don't need those. Then we'll glue this down to its base layer. Okay. Lining that piece up. Okay, give that a little bit of weight to hold, and then we'll look at where we want to place this. This might just go right kind of in the corner of the two, most likely. Okay, we're going to pop that up on dimensionals. Of course, we are. A little bit bigger, so we'll throw a couple extra on there since it's a little bit bigger piece here. And then center this over everything. And this is going to be card number 8. I already did the pre-base of the layer. I stamped the back with my stamp. The inside has that layer to write on. Just like so. Yeah, that's pretty spot on that first one. Now, what do? Do you throw it right there? No, it doesn't work there. It's got to go in the middle. We'll throw that up on dimensionals too then, why not? But it's got to go in the middle. That little bit of black on everything carries through, I feel like, with my, especially now with the sentiment, that little splatter in the background of my top layer there. Okay, let's just center this. Oh man, I'm looking straight down on it. You guys, sorry, my head's in the way. I'm gonna move here. Look at that. That just pops. Sorry, it's sticking to my tweezers, so let me just line that up. Wow. Tropical. I did not expect that tropical feel to come off of that one. So a little tropical feel. Love this one. Here's card number 8. We'll be back after I clean up my space. We'll knock out 9 and 10. Okay, welcome back. Here we are. Card number 9. Super easy. One layer that is supposed to be embossed of some sort. And then we've got 2 little tiny strips with the strip in the middle, any kind of object we want. So obviously we're going, you know what our object is. We're going to try something different. We're going to emboss this, and then we're going to put some Versamark over that embossing and some perfect pearls and get some shine off of the back of this. And then we might just emboss this little layer, may do some perfect pearls on it too, not sure until we get there. What I want to do is I've got some scraps left of now these stenciled pieces, and I think I don't want necessarily the full piece. I think I'm going to take some of these, piece it together so I just have some pieces over the top of that versus one big flower, because I think it would be too big anyway now that I've got it laid out. So what we're going to do first, let's emboss this piece, Versamark and put some perfect pearls on it, get some shine going. So what I'm using, I'm Simon Says Stamped Rainbow Splash, the Mosaic Tulips embossing folder, which I think goes well with this DSP. Alright, we're going to emboss this piece, and then we're going to throw that perfect pearls over it. I'm going to back out just a little bit. Alright, I'm going to go to the side here. I will just emboss this, and then we'll get this Versamark on here. Alright? Alright, you can see now we've got this great embossed background. Raise side up. I'm going to take my Versamark ink, and we're just going to swipe this across. I'm not pushing because I just want this to stay on those raised portions, okay? Just need a light coating on that raised portion of everything. Now, I'm just going to take my perfect pearls, and we're just going to mix some perfect pearls right into it. I'm going to do one color at a time. That way I'm not mixing and I can just dump this back in. Okay. I'm using kind of matching colors, so I've got now my pink, little goldy yellow, and then I've got a blue. Just tapping some in. It's almost like using those shimmer powders. And since I'm using so little of this, I'm going to throw the blue on. If it's wasted, it's wasted. I'll throw this blue in there. And I'm just tapping now this around to get this to stick to the rest of that. Alright, I'm going to give this just a little spritz from far away water just to set that a little bit. And I'm almost kind of spraying it and bringing it into the water. So I'm spraying it and just bringing it into the water to set it. Okay, I did dry this with my heat setting tool, just to dry that Versamark after spritzing it with water to set that and then dry that Versamark ink, because that one takes a little bit to dry if you're just going to let it dry versus heat emboss something. Then I ran my little piece over the top into that embossing folder, and I'm going to leave that white. All we gotta do is assemble. That is it on this card. And then I do have the same sentiment again, just to match everything. And that one is, you can see it on the table there, is in blue with the black. And then it is used the, that is one I used that Distress Glaze Mode Lawn. Okay, we'll just put my weight on there to hold that. Okay, we'll assemble this. Then I'm going to die cut a few of those flowers to lay over the piece of this. Good amount of texture on this card. Alright, just let me cut some of these die cuts out. I'm going to cut this piece out right here, probably an extra flower to kind of throw onto the side of it if I need it, okay? Okay, I was going to do pink, but I looked over and I had some scraps left of this and I felt like I needed the color on here. So what I'm going to do, this is scrap, so I have to get those edges cut off. I'm going to angle this in here and then cut that off and then throw my thank you right there. So let me just get this piece glued down and then I can trim off everything else that I don't need and try to trim those pieces that were left from the edge of the stencil. So I'll get this in here first. Like so. Get that tack on there. We're going to pop this one up on some dimensionals. So let's just grab my couple dimensionals here as this is drying. Put 3 on that one. This is turning out to be such a great set of cards. I kind of peeked over where I've set these out to dry. I do think I'm going to grab a couple little embellishments to kind of throw on these. Alright, before I throw that on, let's just assemble this. So there's that base. And now this needs to go down the center of that with those strips on either side of it. And I just need to trim just a tweak off of that. Like so. Okay. This will go right down the center. And then I pulled two scraps because it shows me two little strips on either side that are black that are at my liberty. Okay, I did do them two size though that it says. Lots of texture on this to get that to tack down. So we're gonna throw the weight back onto that piece. Trim this one down now. So now I'll just trim this around to that oval, and then that cuts off my bad little pieces. Can't even tell. Should have kept it overhanging, but it's scrapped, so I'm cutting it two size. Okay, let's throw our sentiment down. Just giving everything underneath here, you know, a second or two to dry. So, and I'm gonna overhang that just slightly. I'm gonna get my head in the way for a second, so I'm gonna overhang that just slightly. Like so. That just adds some nice little elegance to that little die cut actually. I think this is like, seriously, maybe my third time using them. Okay, I'm going to throw my strips right now next to this. Like so. Great color combo too. Alright, and that goes up on dimensionals. And we have card number 9. Crazy, crazy. Okay, let me pop this up. We're going to glue this down to alright. Give me some tack time just to make sure that's good and lined up. Just like lots of layers on a simple card, but it works. I gotta zoom in on this one. This one you guys see up close. This one's cute. Alright, that is card number 9. Great texture on there. I'm gonna clean up my space. We're gonna wrap this up with our final cards. Alright, last card. Card number 10. We've got our red base, which is DSP. We've got this middle layer with our DSP corners, dots there, and then we've got our top layer. So here's what we're going to do. I'm going to start with this top layer. So that white piece and the black piece are at liberty. I'm going to stay black, but I'm going to add a little something to this before I layer this up. So, getting on my splatter box, I actually have some Distress Mica Stain from the holiday collection. This is the Wonderland. I'm going to just edge this out because it's going to get covered mostly with that little piece here that I'll show you what I've done. I had some scraps now left over of that stenciled stuff that I want to use. So let's just give this some good old mica shine, because that just shimmers like crazy and will pull some colors into this, right? Got a little bluish in there, a little greenish in there, and a little shimmer. Okay? I'm going to dry this up because that mica will dry relatively quick. So I just want to dry that because then we can just assemble this all right here at the same time. Okay? And then because this one has some 3 little dots on it, once we're done, we'll add those 3 dots. Then we're going to pull those embellishments right into all of our other cards and wrap it up. Alright, let's layer this one. Okay. So this little piece, and it's kind of small. I mean, this is only 2 inches by 3 3/4. on top of 2 1/4 by 3 1/2, so it's not very big. Alright, now I had leftovers, so I took a half a circle again and just cut out an end piece of that stencil, and we're just going to lay that right inside there. Just add a little something to that to pull this design together. Okay. Then I had left my thank you not on a black background, so I didn't know what I was going to do on this one, but I am going to throw this up on the black background and throw this right over the top of that to bring that together into the rest of those cards, right? Okay, layer this and get it on the right side, line that up. And we'll just make sure I got it straight here. I gotta look at it straight on. Sometimes down works, sometimes down does not work. Okay. Couple dimensionals on there to pop that one up. Alright, let's just wait now on that. Now I'm gonna come back to this piece. This is that middle layer right in there with my corner pieces. So we're gonna lay those corner pieces out. And tack those on, leaving a little bit of a border. Like so. And then we'll just match that border with my other corner. You know what else I find fascinating with this is, you know, you pick out colors, you pick out your designs of DSP, and obviously, you know, I try to pick stuff that would match and look good together and things, but then you don't know where these pieces are going to end up anyway and what combo you're going to get, which I find interesting as well. So that's going to go there. So we're going to grab some more dimensionals to pop this up. I'm grabbing these little round ones because they're not super thick. I don't want this up too high because I want to put the thank you up on some dimensionals too. Yeah, but it's just interesting in how these color combos come out after you cut these up and then pair them up with where it's supposed to be paired for the layouts. Knowing that now and how this all ties together, I might be a little more strategic on my paper. I think this paper worked well together, but I just might be a little bit more strategic overall. Okay, I want that to be... Should I go that way? No, because it's got to fill that gap a little bit better. Alright, center this one. Like that. And I think that can go just center, actually. Let me just look. Because this has got to go here. Then this has got to go here. I'm going to spin that so my flower's up, actually, now that I see that. And then we're going to go there. I think that works. There, there. No, we're going to go right here. I'm going to pop that up. I got to give it one more dimensional then on this one side, because it's going to overhang. And then that way it stays level. Alright, let me just glue this all down. So this goes right straight to your card base. No frame on this. I did cut this down just a tweak. I am allergic to bases that go straight to the edge of the card. They make me break out. No, I'm just kidding, they don't. But it's a preference thing that I just have a little preference to having a little edge around the card, not having this stuff go straight to the edge. Okay, and I'm going to glue this one down with that flower up. I like that DSP on that background, actually, now that I'm tying this all together. That lacy kind of background looks great. little antique-ish kind of feel to it. Alright, and this is going to go right here in the corner. And I'm going to line that bottom up with that bottom. That is adorable. Little country feel on that one, actually. Okay, here you go. Card number 10. I'm going to grab all my cards, and then I'm going to grab my embellishments that I think I want to add. Okay? So if I put these in order, this one was number 6. Okay, so 6. Then I had 7, 8, 9, and 10. So let's just give you a little shot of that. And I am going to add, I think, my bling that I had set out here. I think would go great. So this is from Trinity Stamps Embellishments. And this is the... which one was this one called? Does not have the name on it. Let me see if the name's on the underneath here. I probably can't tell. Nope, no name on this one. Apologize. So that is my embellishments. I'm going to add some little bling to these, just to cover up a few things, I think, and add a little shimmer. They'd actually look great alone without it, I think, but I gotta have I'm gonna have to add a little bit. And then we are done with these second set of 5. I can't believe it. All right, this one here, we're just gonna go. I'm gonna mimic what I'm gonna do over here, actually. So we're gonna start here because this one had 3 dots. So we're gonna add my 3 dots. Okay, and we're going to go with this bluish tinged because it kind of matches that mica powder, actually. Get all the same size here. Yeah, that one's bigger. So we'll match the other side. Come on. Stick, you little bugger. Okay. And then I should have one, was it that size? I need one more of that medium one. Didn't realize there was all these different sizes in this one, so I gotta find one that matches to that little medium one. Close enough. Okay, so that's the 3 dots on that one. Now I'm going to do the same on this one, on number 1. And we're going to go 3 here, and I'm going to go 3 here. Like so. And we're just going to take, and I think use some pink with that pink background. Go with the big one in the middle, and those ones on the edge. Gonna just make sure I'm lined up here. Okay, big one in the middle, and these medium ones on the edge. These ones are slippery. First time using these as well, actually. They've been hanging here for a little while. Okay, so there's that one. These ones are easy. These ones are going to go on either side of my thank you, where I have my little holes. So I'm going to bring a little yellow down to the bottom here on these ones, because I have a little yellowish up in there, and we'll just pull some more yellow down to the bottom. Okay. I'm going to do the same here. I'm going to pull yellow because I put the yellow in the back side. Use those large ones. And we've got this one. I got a little smudge, so we're going to go a couple on here. So I'm going to go smaller here, smaller here, and then we'll go medium right in there to cover up one of my little smudges. And this one. Last one. And I'm going to pull some blue because we got a good amount of blue on here, and we'll just keep it a little monotonish on this one. That is it. Okay, let me just pull these up here. This is card number 6. Little bling, little bling. Thank you on the inside. Card number 7. Card number 8. Card number 10 with those pearl powders on the background of that embossing. And then we've got 6, 7, 8, 9, I'm sorry, and then 10. That is it. I added some yellow down here just to cover up some smush. I had those 3 dots that were on my thing there. So let's just give you one last look here before we close out. Let me zoom in here just a little bit. And there you have it. Let's come up to my face cam. I know this one adjusts just a little bit nicer. Let me just get everything out of our way. So there is 6, 7, if I can get that to focus, 8, 9, and 10. Get that to focus there. There we go. Thank you all so much for hanging with me. Appreciate you all hanging till the end. Second set of 5. We got one more set to go for January. Have that done in the next couple of days, and we'll get this out to you. I appreciate you all. Don't forget to hit that like and subscribe button. Would love to have you follow me. If you're interested in Kendra's challenge, look up Kendra's Card Challenge on Instagram, and she's on Facebook. Lots of rules on there. You can go through and figure out if you want to do this yourself. But thanks for hanging with me. Appreciate you all, and until next time, I'll see you then.